when you go to the gym now, sometimes what these girls are wearing is just like, it's so revealing that there's nothing left in the imagination.
The more I've gone to the gym, the more I've realized that some of you know what you're doing. That thing that you're wearing, it was done on purpose. Don't say that's the first thing that you saw. Both guys and girls.
I've seen this video about this man complaining about what women wear in the gym. First of all, why the doesn't matter to you? Are you a woman? I do not think so. Let people wear whatever the fuck they want to the gym. I do not understand why it's anybody's motherfucking business.
I think there's been some miscommunication. I don't think this is the sports bra and shorts combo that people are having an issue with. Amazing body, but I think this is the combo people are struggling with. You know, this right here, this combo. I think this is what's making people uncomfortable.
Why are you weird? Why are you this
50,000 naira fine for indecent dressing in Delta State if police catch you? Nigeria.
Hey guys, it's Julie here. How are you all doing? So today I wanted to talk about this dressing issue, or lack of dressing issue if we're keeping it real, that has been on the rise. Most of the videos and pictures I would have displayed for context may get my account banned or just get me in trouble. So just enjoy this visual of me doing my hair while I talk. So I've been seeing a rise of content about people complaining that women are too naked these days. Clothes leave precious little to the imagination, and it's making society fall apart, apparently. On the other side of the spectrum, I've also been seeing a pushback from women or other people opposing this view, saying that women can wear what they want and that conservatism is a thing of the past. I've seen videos of people making statements that dressing modestly now makes them stick out like a sore thumb in society. Being barely clothed is now so normalized that if you make content about modesty, it's seen as a conservative dog whistle or pick-me behavior. Like, girl, stop doing all that modesty stuff. You know, you just want to be undressed like us. You're only doing this to get praises and attention from men. Me personally, I think it's a cultural issue. For someone who lives in Nigeria, nobody is sticking out like a sore thumb because they are covered up. Nobody is getting second looks for wearing a long dress in a social event. Except it's a club or nightlife setting, those super short dresses and exposing outfits are actually what will get you a lot of stares and unwarranted attention and comments. I think that the way social media has grown and transformed in the past few years is partly responsible for changing trends in societies faster than anything else. Cultural norms across the world are getting increasingly blended with the differentiations getting blurred with each social media trend. You can see it in the way people talk, the way people dress, the way people think. I mean, as a Nigerian, I really have no business saying y'all, but I'll find myself saying it sometimes and it's like, relax, Nkechi. Even the word abeg, which is a Nigerian pidgin word. I don't know if other African countries that speak pidgin use it, but now I see it being used by people who are not even African or Nigerian. Food, attire, styles, etc. You know, culture is now borrowed, being traded and shared. And me personally, I don't have a problem with it as long as everyone is respectful about it. I think we'll see more of cultural swap as more time passes and more internet trends come and go. So when I say certain ways of dressing are not that common in certain places, I think it's just a matter of time. It's already happening. It's just still brewing, gathering momentum, you know. So I wanted to talk about this topic of modesty and what some people call nudity culture today. When you talk about modesty, it is something that can refer to anyone because it means behavior, manner, or appearance intended to avoid impropriety or indecency. But society places a magnifying glass on women and places an even greater importance on women when it comes to this. So you can see why topics of modesty are usually centered around women. For most people, it doesn't make sense when they see so many women resisting movements that tell them how to dress, how to act, how to be. They'll just throw their hands up and say, oh, these hoes just want to be hoes. But for many, it takes women back to a time back when women's survival depended on how obedient they were, how modestly they dressed, how silent they were. It's a triggering conversation to many because women fought many wars to be able to be recognized as full humans in society and not just second-class citizens. Even today, we still have countries where women's survival depends on how covered up they are. Speaking from history as a Nigerian, I have to go back to pre-colonial Africa and how women dressed and were perceived in society. The early African women were almost nude. Because of the hot weather conditions, Africans were dressing in ways that worked for them. Women's bodies were exposed, and it wasn't such a taboo to go out and see unclad upper body areas. It wasn't necessarily something that started a heated debate on morality. Exposure therapy, or just the mere fact that Africans weren't governed by dressing a certain way, was not having people discuss your worth and morality as a human because your boobs were out. Not until the colonization era. When Western imperialism found a new home in African countries, they referred to the way that Africans dressed and presented as savage. Imagine that. Imagine people coming from much colder countries who were dressing for their own culture and weather conditions, coming to settle in a different place where people dressed according to their own climate, calling the people of that place savages because of how they dressed. Anyway, with colonization came a whole new restructuring of social norms and values. It was an overhaul. Africans began to adapt to this new way of dressing. It was like the story of Eden all over again. What was once normal became something to hide. Body parts became sacred, and women would learn all too quickly that there was a price to pay for those who didn't conform to this new normal, and the price was too high. In a way, women oppression tie in deeply with Western impositions in African societies. Some studies claim that incidents of rape became at an all-time high as mode of dressing changed, hence modesty culture contributing to the subjugation of women. And it may not make sense to many. I mean, why would women start getting raped when they were covering up and not when they had it all on display for all to see? I think it's the forbidden fruit effect. When something that was so normal and so socially acceptable becomes shameful, sexualized, and made to be covered, it makes curiosity to uncover what is now hidden and taboo kick in. To go by the biblical story, it wasn't the numerous fruits they had permission to eat that lingered at the back of the minds of Adam and Eve, but the one fruit they were told they were not to touch or eat, which was ultimately what led to their destruction. So when people are calling for the return of conservatism, many women recall the bitter history of subjugation and terror. Heck, it still persists to this day. Leaving the bubble of modesty in African cultures, in Western countries we have a clearer timeline of how women fought to resist purity culture. In the late 1960s, short skirt made its debut, a shocking turn away from the era of multi-layered skirts that had women passing out from heat strokes. These are pictures of women getting reprimanded for breaking dress code at a beach. The question, what was she wearing, when men attacked women, made even more people dedicated to the cause of dismantling the culture that told women what to wear, especially because it was never about what a woman is wearing when this happens. This is a display of clothes that were worn by women, girls, and babies when tragedy struck. You have burqas, regular office wear, club clothes, school uniforms, and even sicker, diapers. So was it ever about what a woman was wearing? In a world that demonized and punished women for how they dressed, for women to finally be able to dress however they want, non-conservative dressing is a symbol of the good fight for many. You could say it's a signal of survival and also the reason many aggressively oppose purity culture.
Your booty butt cheeks, your derriere, okay? Your booty bouncing skirts are not for Disney. The booty bouncing skirts, the tennis skirts that are so short that your lumps and your humps are hanging out, is not for Disney. It's not for an amusement park. If your tennis skirt is too short, if your bubble skirt is short and showing that hind meat, it ain't family friendly. Okay? That's all. You can't wear everything everywhere. You want to make sure that you keep it appropriate. You got to keep it appropriate, y'all. Sometimes I know y'all want to have fun. Okay, I know y'all want to be styling and profiling. All right, and I understand. I know y'all want to be styling and profiling and looking cute. But do that somewhere else, okay? Wear that stuff to the club, right? Wear them short, skimpy skirts to adult appropriate function.
There is something interesting about how movements start. People protest to change things, an unfair system, an oppressive society. Then they get freedom, or at least change the status quo that was keeping them constrained. Then it gets quote-unquote too much, and another movement starts to take things back to where it used to be because everybody was just doing too freaking much. It's like as humans, we're born to seek out problems and try to solve it as a way to give ourselves purpose. And when we don't have that problem anymore, we find a way to create a new one so we have something else to live for. We start problems, we solve them, then we create new ones out of what we just solved. First, it was like, my body, my choice. And if you don't think so, you're a prude or a pervert. Then it's us turning into the aunties we used to think were uncool growing up. Because if you saw my face when I opened TikTok and saw a girl with all her butt cheeks hanging out going on a train, I became an auntie. I personally feel like there has to be a line, a balance. The extremes are killing us. I mean, a woman in a micro mini skirt going about her day is not going to kill us. But do you absolutely need to have your butt cheeks hanging out in Disneyland? People talk about modesty or decency, especially in regards to women's dressing. But when you actually look at that word, modesty or decency, it means different things for different people. In countries where women are mandated to cover everything, and I mean everything, opening your face can be seen as an equivalent to going nude. And opening your hair can quite literally ruin your life. I don't like the extremes. I don't like to wear shorts on a hot day and have a man telling me I deserve to have something happen to me for the way I'm dressed. I also don't want to go into a restaurant and see someone with their butt cheeks playing peekaboo with their dress. I saw videos of some girls who were turned away from restaurants in Lagos because of how they were dressed. Some Lagos restaurants now have dress codes in, and many are complaining about this forced modesty culture. So it's like, how do we walk that line? If you go on Muslim TikTok, you see a bunch of grown-ass men cursing a woman out because she revealed too much eyes, or threatening her for even being on TikTok at all. So you can see where women are coming from when they resist or rebel against forced modesty standards. And you can also see why overexposure of skin to where it feels like we're part of an exhibitionist show simply by being in the same room as some people when they walk in makes the rest of society uncomfortable. So there has to be a line, right? There have to be rules, otherwise society would crumble. So how do we do this in a way that doesn't impede on other people's rights? In this age of content creating being an actual job, we are expected to see an even bigger rise of people being unclothed for views and money. Get ready with me content is now a way to show up on screen in your underwear or nude. Even if it is just for a split second, it's still there. Instagram Explore pages now promote degeneracy more than anything and fail to push out good content. I mean, that app used to be a family-friendly app. And I know people will still say that it's what you click on that makes your Explore feed. But I don't know if that's the case anymore. The weirdness is taking over. It doesn't matter your algorithm, you still see a shocking clickbait content that has a graphic thumbnail that you have to wonder how it flew under the radar. But playfully call your friend a silly goat in their comment section and they'll threaten to ban your account. Like I said, the internet culture is one that cuts through physical societal cultures. For example, Ada from Enugu State and the daughter of a deaconess who lives in a place where you can't even wear trousers as a woman could easily set up a tripod in her room and make TikToks of her in her underwear. That's why it feels like every woman is naked these days. It doesn't matter where she's from. In the part of Lagos where I live, most people dress conservatively. Lagos marketplace used to be brutal in the way they would treat women. If you're a woman in Lagos, Nigeria, going to the market, you have to cover most of your body or risk being molested. And even then, many men still won't keep their hands to themselves. These are pictures from protests that happened in Yaba Market in 2018, where women were speaking against harassment in marketplaces. We came to shop, not be groped by men who lack self-control. Also keep in mind that Lagos is very hot and the weather goes up to 32 degrees Celsius and you have sweat dripping in places it shouldn't be. So it makes sense as to why people want to dress with less fabrics, right? But how do we draw the line where you can wear clothes that are for the weather without being nude and dress in a way that is still expressive of who you are without getting slut-shamed by an elderly woman wearing a Lord-chosen deer who is holding a loudspeaker and screaming at you from across the streets that you're going to hell for wearing tight trousers? How do we escape being groped in marketplaces and blamed for what we were wearing? For one, I think nobody should ever think it's okay to touch a woman or harass her based on how she's dressed. Don't even think for 1 second that that's what this video is about. It's 2025. What was she wearing is an irrelevant question when this happens. I just want to make sure I put that out there. I think something that's leading to this protest against exposed dressing that we're having now is when we fail to factor in time and place. Know when or where it's acceptable and relevant to dress certain ways. If you're at a beach, you're free to dress like you're at the beach. Because you can wear a bikini to one public place, aka beach, doesn't mean you can or should wear it to a supermarket, for example. I'll see videos of girls in lace underwear sets in a TikTok video, and people will comment, wow, you're really out here in your underwear. And they'll clap back with, well, if I was at the beach, it wouldn't be a problem. Because people don't understand that it's a mental shift. When you're at the beach, you expect to see people in their bikinis and beach shorts. You expect to see bare torsos and sandy butt cheeks and risky bathing suits here and there. You're mentally prepared for that. You would be overdressed in a blazer and jeans on a beach, but underdressed in a bikini at a supermarket. Matter of fact, you may even have the police called on you. And that's why people confuse this societal mental shift to being a prude. Oh, if I was at the beach, you wouldn't have a problem, but now I'm wearing my underwear, you have a problem. Well, you are at a local supermarket with your areola out. Now what? When you set up your tripod to film a get ready with me video and you're literally not dressed, it's not quite the same thing as being on the beach. Why is your areola in my face when I first opened Instagram? You're talking about monthly dump, but I'm not seeing half-eaten snacks picture for your monthly dump. Oh, you're the half-eaten snack. I actually wish I could show you guys examples. I was just telling my friends the other day, I'm all for women expressing themselves and not being restrained by modesty culture. But why do I also have a problem with seeing people's junks in public? I haven't seen that in person. I'm not going to sit here and act like I have. But I've seen pictures of people in public exhibiting these uncomfortable traits. So I was like, is this internalized misogyny? Is it? I mean, yes, there was a time when African societies had bare-chested women walking around and nobody batted an. But I see it as if we have evolved from not having to go into an actual jungle to hunt for our food before we can eat, because we'd possibly die from hunger before that happens. Then, of course, we can evolve into not wanting to see private areas in public places. I also have to think of it like, why would you want your bare cheeks on a public seat? Now, I'm a germaphobe. I hear people use that term a lot these days, but I don't know if they're in the same boat as me. I obsess about germs. I feel like I can see them. The way people with eating issues count their calories is how I count germs. I can't help it. I hate touching things in public like doorknobs, railings, ATM machines, other people's phones, even money. Just things that a lot of hands have touched. I always have a sanitizer on me. I can't lie. Leaving bare butt sweat on gym chairs is just gross. I find sweat in general gross, but knowing it came from your butt just makes it worse. It's just the practicality of it. You have gym shorts on that you have to possibly pry from your crack with a crowbar, and you are sitting on a seat that thousands others have sat and sweated on. And I don't care if they wiped after. Like, a train seat is even worse. Aren't you scared of catching chlamydia or something on those nasty public seats? As someone with germophobia, you also have to balance a real and uncomfortable phobia you have with being sensitive to people's feelings, right? I hate when people sit on my bed with their outside clothes. People are only allowed to touch my hands, and if you touch me anywhere else without sanitizing or washing your hands first, just know that I'm obsessing about it, even if I may not show it, and you may have just ruined my day. It's a struggle. So when I see these videos, I'm thinking, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, you have your bare behind on a seat that thousands of others have sat on with bum-bums from different walks of life, and it doesn't sit right with me. Anyways, guys, my main issue is that the solution is not to take women back to a time when they were forced to cover up. We have countries where that still happens till date, and I don't think it's a great thing. I don't like the extremes either. But yeah, we have come to the end of this video, and I would like to know your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one. This is how my hairstyle turned out, and yeah, what do you think? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, bye.